Not gonna lie, it's a little awkward that there's no music here. But what's up? This is Pixel Polygon for Detroit Arcade Club, and we are going to enter the Fantasy Zone tonight with Space Harrier, a true Sega classic. Such a true Sega classic, in fact, that it's probably been ported to just about any system, computer, console, smartphone, handheld you could imagine. But we'll get into that. Let's just get going.
Welcome to the Fantasy Zone. Get ready.
I was doing some warm-ups earlier. I was able to make it to the 7th stage. Let's see if we can come close to that or go beyond. You'll probably hear me say this a couple times on this stream tonight, but I'm not lying when I say this might be one of the best video game songs ever composed. Love this song. Oh, and there's the first death to a wicked-ass boner tree. That sucks. We can do better than that. As long as we don't cross over into his fire, we're pretty safe. One down, 17 more to go, give or take. I mean, think about this game in an arcade in 1985, when quote-unquote 3D games probably were not all that common to begin with. You know, of course, you'd have some, like, vector games, I would imagine, like Atari Star Wars, Battlezone, stuff like that, which I'm sure looked impressive, but full-color graphics with this insane sense of speed and fluid movement, it had to have been blowing people's minds. So here we go. Hopping on Falcor, we're going to deforest this shitty planet and fuck up some trees for bonus points. But yeah, man, it's hard to glance over at the chat while I'm playing this game because it is so reflex-based. But you're right, this game's perspective is insane. I mean, this predates Mode 7 scaling on Super Famicom / Super NES. I mean, this game is basically like the tech demo that spawned so many other graphical leaps in arcade and console gaming. Oh, fucking missile. And it's all sprites. It's all sprite scaling. By no means am I a game developer, or do I pretend to possess deep and thorough understanding of how games work, but essentially we have these repeating tiles that have been transformed to appear as if they're fading from background to foreground. And everything else on this game, all of these things that are getting closer and farther away, are basically sprites with different animation states that increase in size or decrease in size to give that illusion of depth. Which for Space Harrier is simultaneously its most amazing achievement and also its most frustrating thing. Because when you put this in the context of arcades in 1985, it is absolutely insanely impressive. But even then, and, you know, I don't think I quite played this game in 85, I think I was too young, but I do remember playing it in arcades as a kid. It's not always easy to judge where things are when they're coming at you, so a particular obstacle you think you have some distance to get around or clear, you might be a half a second away from just smashing right into it. So, with that said, you kind of always have to be moving, always have to be shooting, and then you enter this strange metagame of your physical endurance and your perception of this game's concept of depth as you mash the fire button over and over and over. Oh, Jesus. And then these indestructible objects pop up. You just kind of have to keep moving. And you crash. Alright, that was the first run of tonight's stream. So we'll consider that a warm-up round. That's how far I got when I was warming up before broadcasting. I think we can do better. We can go deeper. I'm not going to promise that we're going to make it to the 18th stage, but we'll see what we can do. Hello, thanks for joining, government name. You know, running is alright in this game, but I would prefer to gently cradle this rocket-powered bazooka I have under my arms. So part of the reason why I'm playing this game tonight... What's up, Mr. Logan Mills? Welcome, welcome. I've been playing a lot of Sega Classics 3D Space Harrier on 3DS. And I was kind of trying to come up with a way I could stream that game. And I just couldn't really come up with a good scenario, but I realized I had other ways that we could play this game. Logan posted in the group recently pointing out that Sega is indeed localizing 1 out of 2 of the physical 3DS packages they're releasing, a collection of Sega Classics. I don't believe the one that's coming out here includes Space Harrier. I think it's the second wave. But that's okay, because Space Harrier 3D is on the 3DS eShop. I want to say it is, I don't know, $5? And it is worth every damn penny, because it is the perfect version of this game. I know 3DS kind of gets the actual 3D effect itself, a lot of people will mention that they don't really use it, or they leave it off, and will turn it just slightly on here and there. This is a game, especially if you have one of those fancy pants new 3DSs, like Mr. Logan Mills, with the eye tracking. This is a game that absolutely benefits 10,000% from the actual glassesless 3D, because it solves the problem we were talking about with Jimmy of the perspective being technologically impressive for the time, but not always being the easiest thing to sort out visually. You put this game with the actual depth, and it is glorious. The other thing that's cool about the 3DS version, well, there are a lot of things that are cool, but the next thing that I'll list is that you have a few different control schemes. You can use the circle pad. The circle pad is a little frustrating to use because it functions the way the joystick on the original arcade cabinet functions, because this game was kind of like, it had a cockpit. You could sit down in it, and it's got a little joystick that resets the X and Y axes to 0 when you let go. So the circle pad in the 3DS version functions very similarly in that when you let go, your Harrier, Mr. Spacey, let's just call him Kevin, Mr. Kevin Spacey, he automatically goes back, oh, son of a bitch bastard, he goes back into the middle of the screen, and it's kind of weird to get used to that. The best way, in my opinion, though, to play that game is with the stylus on the touchscreen, because then you have a virtual joystick fucker, and I don't know, man, it just feels so natural controlling this game with the stylus. Some might argue that it makes it easier because that also engages auto fire, but whatever, it's fun. It's really easy to drop in and drop out of. And look at this psychedelic nightmare we're flying through. We've got this pipe maze thing going on in the background. We've got colorful mushrooms, giant bugs, jellyfish, vaporwave, checkered floor shit going on. It's awesome, and I just ran into a giant alien penis. I'm catching up with the chat comments. Your best Pixel voice. Ooh, sounds very, very relaxing. All right. Yeah, the Baron was doing his soft voice too. It was so soft. We heard a little bit of that sweet baby girl voice in the background, which is all too familiar. Anyone in the chat who's ever had a, well, she's not quite a newborn anymore, but I'm familiar with that late night, oh yeah, I get time to myself. In the background you hear that shrill sound that just says, I need you. Most down, what's happening? It's interesting that you used to play the shit out of this game in the arcade in Shenmue. That's one of my favorite aspects of Shenmue as well. Oh yeah, stylus control is super, super, super good. Alright, so I mentioned that there are other things that I like about Space Harrier 3DS. What else do I like about it? It's pretty gimmicky, but I will say it's cool that M2 went through the trouble of trying to recreate the arcade cabinet experience. So you have the optional mode that changes the screen size and gives you this periphery that looks just like you're sitting down at the original cabinet hardware. And I want to say that they have that view sort of tilt side to side as if you were in like a motion version, and they even sampled the actual hardware's like mechanical pneumatic sounds and put that into the game. So on the one hand, kind of a gimmick that might essentially make it a little bit harder to play the game, but it's just cool that they went the extra mile in trying to bring preserve that arcade experience in some way. They did similar things with their version of Super Hang-On, which actually works really, really well, especially the motion controls for that game. They work surprisingly well, where you can just tilt your 3DS side to side to lean into turns. They also did that with Galaxy Force. Oh my goodness, Galaxy Force 3D is an amazing, amazing 3DS experience. That game is incredibly difficult and can be very frustrating, but the polish they put into recreating that game is so good. It looks like it's in high definition. Like, I can't really describe it. You kind of have to play it for yourself. It just looks so high res on that tiny-ass 3DS screen. Alright, so my first run, we got to stage 7. I'm not very happy, damn, that I'm losing lives this recklessly, this early. Oh, alright. This is a bunk run. Let's try that again. High score goal. Sounds good, man. Let's take a peek here. So, okay, I've got my initials up there at 13. We've got this top score set by YKB. I would have expected that to say like YU, short for Yu Suzuki. But I feel like I set like the 8th score earlier when I was doing practice runs.
Welcome to the...
So at least we got a beat. We're going to get in the top 10 at the very least. But this is not the only thing I have planned for this evening. There are going to be some weird surprises along the way. Guys, tonight's going to be a weird journey. I tried to come up with something, since I couldn't figure out a good way to stream a 3DS without buying expensive Apple hardware. We'll see how weird we can get tonight to be. So speaking of Yu Suzuki, pretty well-known, kind of famous video game dude. I want to say he was the leader of Sega's AM2 department that was known for all their big classics, including this game, Outrun, Hang-On, Virtua Fighter, I don't know, some game that may or may not have been mentioned in the chat, maybe some of you have heard of, called Shenmue. That is allegedly kind of a big deal. AM2 kind of, I don't think they are the originators of it, but they kind of popularized that late 80s blue sky, palm tree beach feel. I don't really know how else to describe it in video games. They just kind of sort of own that look. It's even in their logo. We've got Sega SST, the Sega Sound team, composing music for all these amazing Sega classics. And little known fact, the Space Harrier song actually has lyrics. If you go on YouTube and you search for Space Harrier theme song, oh man, I wish I could think of the dude's name. I used to know his name. But you're going to find the cool dude who sang the Daytona theme song. He is one of the people that composed the music for this game and wrote the original lyrics, and you'll find a video of him performing it in like a little boutique game shop with a Roland synthesizer. It's pretty sweet. Alright, now that we're through that monolithic part of garbage, this guy, of all the early bosses, is the hardest one for me to judge where his attacks are. But the announcer of this game just keeps me pumped up every time, letting me know that I'm doing great. Kind of missing a lot of these. Oh, it's hard to talk and drive. I was saying I'm kind of missing a lot of these opportunities to get points from the jellyfish-looking mofos, but those dudes are pretty dangerous to fly right into. Point Blank, man. Point Blank, I played that on PlayStation 1 with the Gun Con. If we're talking light gun games? Is that what we're talking about? Alright.
Welcome to the Fantasy Zone. Get ready.
It's so nice to be welcomed to the Fantasy Zone. I don't feel like we are giving the Fantasy Zone that warm of a welcome because we're flying through the sky, we're running on the ground, and we're shooting everything in sight indiscriminately. We're even blowing up trees and detonating things. So, you guys are probably aware that Sega has a shmup called Fantasy Zone, and you might be bizarrely delighted to know that, yes, this game and Fantasy Zone do take place in the same universe and are the same canon. I'm not making this up. This is not a sarcastic fanfic joke. Not that Space Harrier has that deep of a story to begin with, but it is indeed linked to Fantasy Zone, which stars this cute little pod-shaped ship with wings and feet who is called Opa Opa. And Space Harrier and Opa Opa are buddies. Basically, the story is we are on... I don't know if it's the name of the planet, and we're going through all these zones, or if we're visiting different planets, but we're in a place called Dragonland, which resides within the Fantasy Zone. And Dragonland is supposed to be a peaceful place that, of course, is now being attacked by the Evil One, who's sending his monsters and robots to ruin our good time, and Moai statues. Now in Fantasy Zone, I think the story's a little bit deeper, where there's some kind of, I'm not even kidding, there's some kind of galactic trade confederation, and they start, like, I don't know, not allowing people to, damn, I keep dying in the same spot, not allowing people to, like, have access to goods and services, and it causes this, like, huge interplanetary battle. And so you as Opa Opa, the cute little sentient spaceship, decide that you're going to go solve all the problems and kill all the bad guys. And at the end of the game, spoiler alert, turns out your dad is the bad guy. You have to kill your own dad. And what is probably one of the cheeriest cute-em-ups ever made has this, like, very bizarre dark undertone at the end of the game. Oh yeah, here we go. Happy to be past that part again, finally. I'd be happy if we got to at least stage 10 tonight. I want to get in those double digits. It's a little easier for me to process on 3DS. But we almost got to the end of stage 7. I think we can do it. I'm not even looking at the score, because the moment my eyes go off of kind of glazing over the entire screen, I'm fucked. Oh god. This part's crazy. They crank up the acceleration. Going into Takahashi Meijin mode with my index finger. This guy looks like Sloth from the Goonies on some kind of string of boogers. Yeah, thank you. Now we're in that scene in Flight of the Navigator where he's like traveling through space and time, and we've got this weird ceiling of electricity above us. So now, not only am I dodging these giant, weird, three-dimensional, polygonal thingies, but we've got these columns to deal with, and then these guys shooting at us. And it's just kind of a clusterfuck. Here come the Gundam rip-off robots with their missiles. They're gonna charge me. Alright, I missed a couple, but now I get to hop on Falcor and deforest this area. Doesn't make any sense to me why the bonus stage would be ride this creepy caterpillar dog beast and ruin trees. I feel like we should be protecting the trees. Maybe they're poisonous alien trees. Alright, got a chance to peek at the chat. Yes, this is related to Fantasy Zone, man. Alright. You know what else Fantasy Zone is related to, and I'm guessing then by association this game, there is... Oh, we got one more. Oh, we got a one-up at some point. There is a Master System game called Zillion. It's definitely one of the better Master System games. It's a side-scrolling, like run-and-gun action game. And Sega was banking on Zillion hard in the 80s, so hard that they had an anime produced. So there's a whole animated series. And Opa Opa is one of the characters in the series. He's like the main character, like anime cool dude's familiar who hangs out with him and brings him drinks on his spaceship. And oh Jesus! And the main guy in Zillion actually fights with the Master System light gun. Like he actually has the same hardware you could buy in real life as his main gun. So he's kind of like, I guess he's Sega's Captain N, since that kid had the Famicom zapper. Fucking one-eyed woolly mammoths are so cool. They're kind of like one of the icons of this game. Oh, get the fuck out of here. I forgot what the boss of this zone is. Oh yeah, this sucks. Just kidding, those fucking clown shoes. Alright, this is the farthest we've been tonight. Oh yeah, these guys are a pain in the butt. Oh yeah, when the columns start coming, that's when I get nervous. Like, those tall trees can kill you, but you can at least blow those up. These guys are too close for comfort. Oh shit, oh shit. Oh man. That's the best run so far. Oh, we got another life! Alright, I really need to pay a little bit more attention to the HUD. I thought that was it. Alright, as long as I don't cross back over my own path too quickly, we're okay for this guy. Gotta watch out for those... Looks like... I can't tell if he's dropping purple attacks on the ground, or if... Oh, that's just me blowing up his rocks. Actually, I don't know. Those purple things might be able to hurt me. Oh god. Oh god. He's pissed. He's pissed. Whew. Alright, if my peripheral vision is not deceiving me, I think we just hit the top score, because I see a bunch of things moving. Oh! I looked. Shouldn't have looked. Woo! Okay. Well, we hit number 1. That's what I like about games like this. You get that little surge of adrenaline at the end there when you know you're riding on your last life and you get into that battle trance. That's some good shit. Yo, what's up, Herpes de Perry? How you doing, good sir? I gotta get EDF so we can play that online. Yeah, that was Vicar Amir.